Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It is Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. Hello, everyone. How's it going? How are we? All right, let me just change this. Let me go here, and here we go. So, I traced my design, but I'm not going to worry about that because I think we're going to paint the background first and then we're going to put our vase on and go from there, okay? So I'm going to put out some white, some, this is a little raw sienna, just a little bit, and some brown. Where's my brown? So you can use brown, you can use fawn. I forgot what colors I put on the list, but I'm going to grab some fawn. And if you don't have fawn, just use a lot more white with your brown. Okay, so there we go. Let me turn you guys around and we will get started. Okay, so like I said, so this is an old canvas. We're not going to worry about that. I put my design on here, but we're not going to worry about that either. I know all these things we're not worried about. I am going to get a straight edge. You don't have to use a ruler for this. I like to use a ruler for it. You want your tabletop to be about 3 inches up from the bottom. I am using an 11 by 14 canvas, so it really depends on how big of a canvas you're using. And I'm going to put a line in here for that. Okay. I'm going to put this away. I like to have my tabletop or my horizon line straight. It's probably the only time you will see me actually use a ruler. I'm used to eyeballing things. I'm going to get out about a 1-inch wash brush right here. What I do with my, I don't know, need some paper towels. Okay. I am going to wet my brush because I don't mind when I'm doing my background here. I don't mind to have a little bit of water on my brush. And I'm going to load my brush up completely with white. Okay. I'm going to put the corner in some tan. And I'm going to get started painting. My canvas is sideways, so my strokes are horizontal. But, why is that blurry? My strokes are horizontal, but because I've turned my canvas, it looks like I'm painting vertical. So I'm going to pick up white. I'm going to come back in here. I feel like it's easier to paint horizontal lines. If you paint horizontal lines when you're like this, your arm will tend to windshield wipe, and then you'll have curvy lines. When you put your canvas on the horizontal way, like this, when you lay it down, and you paint your horizontal lines vertically, you have less chance of windshield wiping. So when we blend, we're constantly going over our previous paint, okay? So you're going to work your way down, then you're going to work your way up, then you're going to work your way down, okay? Pick up some more paint, put a corner in my tan, and work my way up. So don't forget, if you're not painting with me tonight, you will have this on replay. Pick up more white, work my way up, work my way down. You'll have this recording. You can access it and watch it and paint it as many times as you want. If you hopped on a little late, I'm going to show you how we're going to put our design. Ordinarily, I trace my design first, but in this case, our jar is glass. So we want to be able to see what's behind our jar. guys. I'm having a little trouble seeing the comments. They're all over in the corner, but hey everyone, how you doing? We want to be able to see the wood behind our jar. Our glasses jar, obviously you can see through it. Okay? So I'm just picking up a little bit of the tan and I'm going back and forth. I'm going to show you how we're going to put our jar on our artwork when we're done with our background. Okay? When you're blending, you always want to be working up and then down. And you want to go all the way across your canvas. You don't want your lines ending in the middle. I'm going all the way off my canvas. Pick up some tan and white. I'm going to hold my brush upright on the chisel edge and come right across the bottom here with my table. Now I have a nice straight line there. That line is going to help me keep up top. Oh, that one's crooked. Keep up here and not go past. Not that it really matters because with the colors we're using, it's just good training because the colors we're using can carry over to the bottom. They're the same family. They're just going to be a little bit darker on the bottom. We want our table to be darker. And again, the important thing is when you do your brush strokes, you want to constantly be working up and then down, up and down. You don't want to overblend because you want to see a variation. You want to see white, tan, dark tan, light tan, linen. You want to see all those variations. This is going to be a faux wood background. And we want to see all that in there, okay? So now I'm not even going to wash my brush. I'm going to dip in the white again, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of this dark brown. And I'm going to come down here and pick up dark brown and the sienna, and I'm going to do the same thing down here for the table. White, dark, sienna. Let's make our nice straight line. Okay, and then we're going to fill this in. I'm trying to be able to, there we go. There we go, that's better. All right. And you can make this as dark or as light as you like. Okay? If you want your table really, really fawn color, or really, really dark brown, or more in the burnt sienna family. Just you don't want to overmix. You want to see all the different variations. Now I'm not going to do the sides of my canvas. You guys might know the drill. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I make it match, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do something fun on the sides. Sometimes I just leave it white. Today I'm going to leave it. Okay? You can kind of see my lines through, but I'm not going to worry about that because we're going to have so much going on in here, it's not going to matter. Like I said, this is just a tutorial for you all anyway. I'm not going to sweat it. Okay? So then I want to, and you can use a ruler again for this if you want. You don't have to. You can either use this wash brush. If you can get a nice chisel edge on your wash brush, you can use this one or switch to a liner brush. And we're going to make some panels. We want this to be a faux wood background. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to divide this into 3 panels. So I'm going to try and go as straight as I can with a very light touch and pull across. Okay, I'm going to come up here and the same thing. Be as straight as I possibly can, light touch, and pull across. Okay? Now we've basically divided the back of our project up into 3 boards, let's say. And now I'm just going to go into my white, and I'm just going to start adding in a little bit of some white. I'm just now coming in here. I want to give the back of my board, I didn't even wash my brush, a little bit more wood texture. I'm lightening it up in the back. I'm always picking up the white, and I'll show you how we can make a couple of cool knots. And then I'm going to go right into the dark, and I'm going to do the same thing down here, but with some dark paint, and make our bottom look faux wood down here on the counter, the table, whatever it is. Okay, and up here we added a little bit of white. Now I am going to wipe my brush, and I'm going to wash it. I'm going to go to my liner brush. Got to bring my liner brush together, and I think I'm going to get the white. Okay, we're going to add a few little knots. So I'm going to take my white, I'm going to pull it, I'm going to make a hill, and then I'm going to come down, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pull it, I'm going to widen it, and then I'm going to add like a little eye shape in the middle. We're just going to give our wood these little fake knots just in the background, just a little bit. Okay, that one went off the page. That one's a little bigger. Okay, and there we have our background. My lines are fairly straight. They look a little cockeyed in the screen though. Then I'm going to grab my dryer. I'm going to give this a quick dry for a minute. Okay, once your background is dry, you can take your tracer and your graphite paper, and you can trace your jar onto here, and I'm going to show you another way. I can still see my jar, so I'm not going to worry about doing that, but I am going to show you another way that we can get our jar onto our background. I just want to make sure it's nice and dry, otherwise the paper will lift the paint. Okay. All right. So again, if you have graphite paper, this is cut off. You can line up your jar where you want it, slip your graphite paper underneath, and then trace it. I'm going to show you another way, and I think I've showed you guys this before. I'm going to grab some scissors, and I'm going to cut my jar out. I can see my jar through my background, so I'm not as worried, but I'm going to show you guys this trick anyway. I am missing the neck, so if I had to do it, I could draw it in, but we're not going to worry about that. So, you can take your piece of paper, you can put it right on here where you need it, you can grab a pencil or a piece of chalk and outline it. Okay, I don't have to do that. I have my outline in here, but I am going to draw it in with pencil so you guys can see it a little better. You want your jar to come down onto your table a little bit. We don't want our jar sitting up here on the line. We want it on the table. Okay, and I drew it in there a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna get some, let me use this blue. Okay, and my liner brush. Okay. I am going to mix a little bit of white over here with my blue, lighten it up a little bit. And I'm not going to overmix. See how in my plate here you can see stripes, striades, variations? That's what we want. We don't want to totally mix it up and get a whole new blue. Okay? So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to start to outline my jar. And the reason we do blue is so you can see it. It helps with the faux glass look that we're going for on our faux wood background. And I'm just using my liner brush and tracing over my blue. Okay? Then I'm going to put a hump in there in the background for the back of my bottle. Then I'm going to pick up a little bit of white and I want to go over the blue with some fresh white. Not too much. I'm not changing the whole thing to white, but I'm just lightening it up a little bit. Okay? And there we have our jar. And I'm going to wash my brush and put out a little bit of black. Okay. If you want a ruler for this part again, you can. It's totally up to you. It's your artwork. I'm going to eyeball it. But if you were so inclined and you wanted to use a ruler, go right ahead. I'm going to put my liner brush and my black paint. I'm going to twirl my fingers in it so I have a nice point on my liner brush. And I'm going to add in my flag post. Now, I want it to go on a diagonal, but I'm also hopping over the front of the jar. Okay, we don't want our, we might have to fix it later, but we don't want our stems and our flagpole, we want it inside the jar. So it's going to be behind the front rim. It goes over the back rim and behind the front rim. And then we're going to put a little bit of a black ball up here on top of our fence post. Our flag post. Okay? And then I'm going to wash my brush. And I'm going to take some white paint and I'm going to, let's see, paint in my flag. So it's going to wave. It's going to go up and down. You want the top and the bottom of your flag to be somewhat parallel. If you need to do it in chalk or pencil first, go right ahead. I have the top and the bottom and they're flowing the same way. And then I'm going to switch to, oops, a smaller brush. Okay, I'm going to go back to my blue. I want to darken up my blue a little bit for my flag, so I'm adding a tiny bit of black. Tiny bit of black. We'll get a little bit more of a navy color in there. And then I'm going to paint in the corner, but I want it to match again. There we go. Okay, so I had a little bit of a dip there. And now I'm going to fill in my blue. I'm going right over that white line. I didn't really need that white line. I put that white line there in just to trace in my flag. Doesn't have to be there, doesn't need to be there. It's going to end up getting painted over. That was just to give me a eyeball of where my flag started and stopped. Okay? So we have the blue up there. And I'm going to get out some red now. Don't worry if your flag doesn't have 13 stripes, 50 stars. This is acrylic painting. Our flowers are going to be abstract. Our flag can be a little abstract. Oop, oop. And it's okay. It is a flag, but it's okay if you can't fit in all the stripes that you need to fit in. All right. I'm going to go back to my smaller brush that I used for the blue. I'm giving it a good wash. And wipe it off. I always like to wipe my brush off really, really well because I'm always afraid that water will get stuck up in here, and when I stand at my brush, it'll leak out or drip, make a mess, whatever. And so I'm usually a little bit more aggressive at wiping off my brush than maybe other people are. All right, I'm going to get my red paint, load up my brush. Don't be shy, a little bit of pressure. You want to get the paint up into the fibers. And then I'm going to do the first stripe. Okay, that's one. Put a little bit of pressure. And there's two. Okay. Paint. A little bit more pressure. And to see with my red lines, I'm even trying, I might fix that one with white later. I'm trying to follow the curve. I'm going to come right to the bottom. I'm going to do this one in here. So we have it. And then I can add two more in the middle. There's one. And there's another one. Okay, and I'm going to leave that to dry. These are a little wonky, but we can fix them later with our white. I'm not going to worry about that. Here's my brush. Okay, so far we did the faux wood background. We put our canvas sideways. This way, when we painted in our horizontal stripes, although we were painting them vertical, when we put our canvas back up the right way, they're horizontal. We did our table. So we did white, tan, a tiny bit of brown, and then we moved in. We wanted our table to be a little darker. Then we added a little bit of faux wood by using some soft brown with our liner brush or the chisel edge of our flat brush, some faux wood knots, a little bit of wood grain going on down here. And we traced in our jar with some light blue and went over it with some white. Put in the black for our flag pole and the little metal ball on top. And then we painted in our flag. And again, your flag doesn't have to be perfect. This is a somewhat abstract acrylic beginner painting, and it's okay. Now we're going to let our flag dry. We want our red to be super dry before we go back in and do the white. I have put out a little bit of green. I'm twirling my brush in the green. And now I'm going to add in a few more stems. And we want the stems the same way. So our stem is going to come down. It's going to cross over the back. But then you're jumping over the lid and it's going behind the front of the jar. Okay? And another one here. Okay, jump over. And what goes on down here in the jar is totally fine. Crisscrossing, whatever. You don't have to worry about that. I'm going to put another one sorta out here like this for our baby's breath. And our baby's breath is going to have some branches off of it. And do the same thing on this side. We're going to have one. We're going to put like some geraniums in here. So this one's going to come down. Okay. And then this one is going to come out to the side and hang down. This is kind of a sparse design. If you wanted to make yours thicker, fuller, whatever, it is totally up to you. It is your art. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to fill these in a little bit darker. Okay. Then I'm just going to pick up a little bit of white. I want to make a little bit of a lighter green in here. And I'm just going to highlight up these stems. I don't want to use total white. I just made a little bit of some light green, and I'm just highlighting up the tops of them like that, and that's good. And I'm going to wash my brush. Okay, so we're going to start with these two main ones here, and we're going to do our, what are they, bluebells, I think. I'm going to get a small round brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit more white and some blue. Again, we don't want to overmix. So I'm just making this messy puddle over here in between. And we're going to start with our bluebells. Now these are wider on the bottom and they get narrower as they go up. Okay, so they're a little bit of a triangle shape. You can put dots up here where you want them to end if you want. You don't have to. Okay, I have my brush full and I'm going to just dab on either side. And we're making these V's. Okay, I'm going to work my way up, even put one in the middle, and work my way up all the way up the stem. Sometimes I can pick up some white. Sometimes I can pick up just the regular blue. You want the ones on the stem to be a V. So I'm doing one side, then the other side, then the other side. Okay. I can pick up some of the light blue, and I can dip in the white, and I can pick up some of the white. And as I work my way up, I want the tip to be mostly white, maybe a little light blue. Okay. I'm gonna come back in. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So I'm gonna do one, and then two. And even though we're covering up this other one, we're still going to keep working our way up pretend that's not there. I'm doing my V's, tapping one into the middle, going a little bit to my light blue, pick up just the white, and work my way up the stalk to the top. Get some fresh white, and I'm going to tip it in. So the top of my bluebell is mostly white. See how they got a little bit wider at the bottom? Or started wider and got narrower at the top? I guess that would work. Okay, and I'm going to wash my brush. Now I'm going to go into my fresh white. I'm going to stick with my little round brush, my fresh white, get a decent amount on there, and I'm going to start pouncing in just some white dots, white clusters down here. You want to be able to see the stem, so you don't want to overdo it, and putting in some baby's breath. If your stems aren't dry, you need to wait or hit them with a dryer first. Mine are dry, it's okay. And you can pounce in as much as you want. Little stalks of baby's breath off to the sides. Okay? And then I'm going to wash my brush. Now we're going to go back, we're going to work in this area here. We have this stem. I'm not going to really worry about, we can extend it or put flowers over it to shorten it, whatever we need to do, but for now, we're going to be in this area while we let the other things dry. I'm going to go into my red. I'm going to start making clusters of little flowers. They're geranium-like flowers. And it's push, 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 push. Okay? Group of 5. Push, 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 push. Almost looks like a star. Sometimes maybe you only want to put 3. Maybe sometimes they're going to go in that direction, pointing out. Maybe in here you want them a little thicker. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the harder you push, the bigger they are. If you have a light touch, they'll be tinier. But if you have a heavy push, they'll be a little bigger. Maybe a tiny, 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 tiny bit of white, and put a little bit of pink, or make a little bit of pink in a few of them, just to mix it up a little bit. And we're going to add maybe a couple in here. I want to put 3. I don't want to go over my blue because then we're going to have some purple. But I'm just going to put a little cluster of 3 in there on that side. Okay. I'm going to wash my brush. Okay. I'm going to take some of my green paint. I'm going to add a leaf in here. And this leaf is going to be a little bit more rounded on the ends. I'm going to fill it in. I need some yellow. Let me get some yellow ochre. Just a little bit. So geranium leaves tend to be a little bit on the round side. And like scalloped edges. Okay. And then I want to have a leaf on this side. Where should we put it? Okay. So I have one leaf there. And then maybe we have another one there. Okay. Then I want to add a little bit of this sienna color to my green. Lightened it up a little bit. Too much. Go back to the sienna. There we go. That's a nice color. Has a green tint to it, but it's more of a tan color. Okay. And I'm going to put a stem. So I'm going to have this stem go in here and up. I'm going to have one come out and down. And then maybe make that one higher. Maybe this one come off of there. Okay, we're going to do some little cotton. Okay. So at the tips of our stems, we're going to use our round brush. I'm going to make 3 leaves. So we're going to start light, we're going to apply pressure, and then we're going to pull up. Start at the tip, apply pressure, and then pull up. Okay, I'll show you that again. Have our brush out to the side on an angle. We're going to put some pressure, and then we're going to pull up. This way the ends, pressure and pull up, the ends are a little bit more pointed. Okay. And then this one, apply a little bit of pressure and pull up, a little bit of pressure and pull up, a little bit of pressure and pull up. Okay. And then while I have this paint on my brush, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to add a few leaves. The same way that we did the leaves up there for the cotton, except these are going to be a little bigger. So I'm applying some pressure and then release. And then down here apply some pressure and release up into a point. Okay? And I'm going to wash my brush. Oh, forgot one thing. Because now our cotton is a little bit of a different color, we need to pull a stem down here into our jar. Now I can wash my brush. Again, I'm going to grab my dryer. I want to dry these leaves a little bit. Okay. So I'm sticking with my little round brush. You guys, the round brush is new to me. If you've been following me, if you've been on my YouTube channel, if you're not on my YouTube channel, you can hit the subscribe button. That would be great. I am so married to a flat brush that I'm trying to incorporate this little round brush into my art. And I like it. I like it a lot, but it is definitely new to me. Okay? So I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to start right there. Just putting in the outside shape and then filling this in. You want an uneven edge, almost cloud-like, and puffy. You don't want a perfect circle. You need to add more paint because it's okay if you put it on a little thick here and you want it nice and fresh white. Okay, do down here. Go in between and fill it in. And then down here the same thing. Come out. You don't want perfect circles. And fill it in. If you have to go back in and fix your leaves after, you can. I'm going to just pick up a tiny bit of blue, and I'm just going to add some blue in down here towards the bottoms of each of them. Just giving a little bit shade and a little bit of a different color. Pick up some of the blue here, not too much, and blend it in. Okay, so we have our cotton. My wood grain looks like it's coming out of my cotton over there. While I have the white on my brush, I'm going to come in and do my white stripes. Okay, and I said too, now it's a good time I can fix my red a little bit. Plus, you know, it doesn't have to, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. The flag's a little bit wavy. And we can go back and forth, back and forth. I can then fix the red, go back and fix the white, go back and fix the red, go back and fix the white. And before you know it, our paint, our flag is pink and our stripes still aren't perfect. So now I'm just dabbing in again using the round brush, and I'm just dabbing in our stars. Okay? I'm going to put a little bit of a glare up there. I'm going to put a little bit of highlight on the pole. I'm going to add a little bit of highlight to those leaves. And pick up the white and the yellow. I'm going to add a stem, stem to those leaves. And then this one, I want it to be totally dark. And I'm just coming in with fresh dark green, doing around the outside, and I put in the veins too, with the stems on that leaf. Okay? And I'm going to wash my brush. Okay. I am going to grab my liner brush. I'm going to use the back of my liner brush in the black and add centers to my geraniums. Okay, the ones out there don't need them, they're just partials. Then I'm going to get a little bit of this green and I'm going to connect all these with stems. So they're not just out there floating around mid-air. Okay, now they're all attached. I'm going to go back to my about 1/2 inch flat brush. We can't see the back of our jar. Oh, I went over my line there. So we can't see the back of our jar. I did go over my lip with my stalk from my cotton, so I had to fix that. Let me add a little bit of blue in there. Okay. I think I'm going to stick with the round brush. I'm going to take my white and I'm going to add a little bit of a waterline. Add some blue. So I have white on my brush. I just pick up a tiny little blue and I'm going back and forth here. And I want it to scoop. I'm going to add a little bit of white to the back. I want to add white glare to each of the corners. I want to almost add, almost like a dry brush, not too much glare going across. So if you have to wipe off your brush, that's okay. Just coming across and going over the stems, creating a little bit of glare to our faux glass jar. We put a little bit of highlight maybe on these stems in the jar. And then I am going to grab my the flat brush again. I'm going to take a little bit of the brown, a little bit of the sienna, a tiny bit of black, and I'm going to start making in a little bit of shadow under our jar. Sweeping, a little bit of a curve, sweeping back and forth. Not too much pressure. You want it darker in the middle. Lift to the right, lift to the left, lift to the right, lift to the left, and back and forth, back and forth. Have a little bit of a shadow underneath our jar. And there we have it. So let me turn you guys around. There it is. So here you go. What do you guys think? I hope you enjoyed painting this with me. It's a really cool tutorial for the faux wood background, the tabletop, the glass jar. You can make this glass jar any size that you want. You can make it have as much floral as you want. You could do all blue bonnets, all the little geraniums, all baby's breath, whatever you want to put in there. Thanks for joining me, everyone. and have a great night. See you next time.